Hey everybody, we're back on the Cornerstone Live. It's B Styles, and as you know, it's election season. So we're fortunate this evening to have a couple of gentlemen who are actually running against each other for the 5th Suffolk District. We have with me right now Mr. Barry O'Lawton, and so we're just gonna have a little conversation around why you're running and what are some of the issues that you're gonna try to take care of for the people. So let the people know a little bit about yourself, just real quick.
Okay. My name's Barry Lawton. I'm a school teacher, Boston public school teacher for the last 23 years. I'm father of 10-year-old twins who attend the Boston public schools. This is my 3rd time in as many decades running for this seat because I'm committed to doing this job. I have trained for this position. I started my first legislative position in May of 1978 in my senior year at Boston University, and have held several positions in the House of Representatives, in the State Senate, on the Governor's Office, in the Boston City Council. So, I've trained for this position, and I'm trying to change things in our community. I filed legislation, 11 pieces of legislation in 1998 to try to deal with criminal justice issues, education issues, transportation, infrastructure issues. So, I've not only been experienced and trained for this, I've exemplified a vision that we need to have in this community. We need to have our community back. This is the lowest voting district in the state. It has the greatest number of problems, and we have the smallest voice. I'm running to restore that voice, to be the voice of the people, and we haven't really had that. Currently, our seat is vacant. It is unrepresented. That is the bad state. That's the worst state we could be. And it's our 2nd state representative who has left office in midterm to go do something else at a higher paying job, which is very good for them. My campaign motto is community first, and that's what I'm doing.
Okay. So, even though you've been out and you've been talking to people in the community, what are some of the issues that people are really concerned about?
Well, there are a lot. Obviously, public safety is a concern. Education is a concern. Care for our elders is a concern. But, all of these issues, and I explain to them when I'm saying why I'm running, is that we can't even touch those issues if we're not at the table. We can't touch them if we don't have a voice. We must restore our voice. And not only restore it in our community. As a legislator, I would work with communities in New Bedford, Worcester, Lowell, Springfield, Holyoke, those areas, and you multiply the number of votes you have up in the legislature. So, we're not going along and following along and getting along. We're actually building coalitions that are going to bring in the commonwealth to our community, which has bypassed us.
Okay. Let me just ask you this too. When you decided to run, what was kind of your motivation other than the fact that you've done some things, you've passed some legislation, you've done some things like that? What else was your motivation other than that?
I think when I walked into the State House in 1978, serving as a legislative aide for Roy Bulling Jr. in parts of Dorchester and Mattapan, I realized, and what I learned was the power of this Commonwealth and the amount of money and resources that this Commonwealth has and how they can impact and change the community. I saw that, and I said, I'm living in a community that can happen. So I saw that as an opportunity to train for this position, to bring these resources back to our community.
Okay. So you heard it from the man himself on November 2nd. If you want to cast your vote for Brother Lawton, do show up at the polls and do so. And, let's exercise our right to vote and let's try to correct our
community. And I want to add that I'm running as a write-in candidate because I narrowly missed winning the primary by 41 votes, even though I won the majority of the district. So it's a write-in candidacy. People will be getting this in the mail. Send it, write my name in. Let's have a change in this community.
B-Styles, once again, I'm back. I have the other gentleman who is running for the 5th Suffolk District, Carlos Enriquez.
Good evening.
Carlos, you heard what Barry had to say. What are some of the issues that people are talking about, especially some of the young people? Tell me, because I know that you've been connecting with a lot of young people.
The issues are pretty much the same. I mean, it's education is what's going on in the schools and whether they feel like the schools are preparing them for a future. It's public safety, whether they feel safe going to and from school, going from a friend's house to another friend's house, and jobs. What opportunities wait for them upon graduation, or whether it's a trade school, or what their future looks like. And that really speaks to whether they have hope and investment in the future.
Okay. I know you've run for city council before and things of that nature. So what is your motivation to actually want to hold a public office seat?
Well, my motivation is birthed right in my household. I'm the son of two very civically active parents who have been involved in community organizing. So I've been watching politics since Mel King ran for mayor in 1983. And it was an opportunity that I got in 2005 to work in City Hall for a former city councilor, where I saw the connection from being a community organizer and how much added capacity I could have as elected office. Just being able to reach out to more people, having a larger capacity to touch people's lives and improve their quality of life just by doing the things I did in my neighborhood every day, by really reaching out and getting to understand each and every person.
Okay. In response to what Barry said in terms of it being one of the lowest voter turnouts in your district, what are some of the strategies you're using to get the word out and to try to get people to register to vote?
So even between campaigns, I think we're obligated to do the work anyway. There's a lot of times people criticize politicians that they're only at your door when they're looking for your vote. So even when I haven't been running, before I even thought about being a political candidate, I've been part of organizations that do voter education, voter registration. But it's really about engaging each person, knocking on each door, telling them why it's important personally for them. Because the same, a low voter turnout might not motivate the 18-year-old. He might need to know what the power of the vote is and how it affects his life personally. The same thing for the senior, and the same thing for the working class, beginning of a family member. So those people need to be engaged and need to have a real conversation with their leadership. It can't be hands off and you only show up during election time. It has to be a constant relationship that's developed with you and the people in the community.
Okay, and when you're out, doing your, your campaigning, what are some of the things that the younger people are saying? Because I understand, the youth is a very powerful voice, especially the 18 to 20-something-year-olds.
Yeah.
So what has been your message to them specifically?
My message for them is that they have to kind of meet people halfway, that they have to invest in themselves and also ask the people to invest in them. So I show them my investment by making sure I meet them where they are, whether it's a basketball court, whether they see me one day in a shirt and tie and the next day in a t-shirt and jeans. It's making sure you make that connection. Young people are good judges of character. They feel your vibe right off the bat. So being able to reach out to them and treating them with the same respect that you would treat a 65-year-old or a 34-year-old is important. And building that personal relationship and showing them and giving them resources, telling them where they can go to find a job, helping them with a resume. Sometimes I'm taking my own shirt and tie off and giving it to somebody who has a job interview the next day. So that kind of giving is important to them.
Okay. And in the short time that we have left, really quickly, why should they vote for Carlos?
Well, I'm a different type of candidate. I'm going to raise the bar on what people expect from elected officials. I'm going to be the candidate and the state representative to do the same thing that I did to win the primary, and that's be in your neighborhood on a daily, on a weekly basis, touring your neighborhood, talking to you on your doorstep, asking me what the issues are, and not only working in the State House for you, but it's just as important that we work in the community day to day so people can see me and build that relationship.
Okay, well, thank you, Carlos, for your time.
Thanks for having me.
And make sure that you get out to vote on November 2nd for your favorite candidate, and let's keep this thing moving because we got to have a voice out here, and a political voice is a voice for change.